Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm running on empty. Welcome to the March 2nd Board of Health meeting. Thank you all for coming. First order of business is to review the minutes from the February 2nd Board of Health meeting. I was not here, but I did have the opportunity to review the minutes. Thank you very much for taking care of that. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written? Does anybody?
So moved.
Good. No corrections or anything by anybody?
No.
Okay, can I have a second?
Tony.
Tony, sorry, I didn't hear. All right, we will accept the minutes as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moves 4-0. Did I just-
No, I think you're doing good.
All right, after that, hopefully.
No, it's all
Hi.
right. So, Madam Chair, we have a request to move the landfill closure committee update to second on the agenda this evening.
Okay. All in favor? No problem with that?
No problem.
All right, we don't have to make it a formal.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right, we will, take the, agenda out of order tonight and ask that the landfill closure committee update be moved to second on the agenda. And is, Deborah Panetta and Peter
You
Manugian,
want us to go before the wind waste operation?
yes, please.
Smith has to go up there because they can't.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. Thank you for allowing us to present this evening. My name is Deborah Panetta, and I am a member of the Landfill Closure Committee. The last time we stood before your board was back in January of 2025. The Landfill Closure Committee was created by a vote of our Saugus town meeting. Members also include Selectman Michael Serino, who's here this evening, town meeting member Jeannie Meredith, town meeting member Carla Scazzarella, Carla's right there, town meeting member Peter Manugian, who will be presenting tonight, and he was also the chairman of the committee. At that meeting, we made it clear that wind waste representatives were invited to every single meeting that we had in an effort to have an open and transparent discussion about landfill closure, but they refused to attend. That absence matters. It matters because this unlined ash landfill was scheduled to close in 1996. It matters because the landfill sits within Romney Marsh, an area of critical environmental concern. And it matters because the facts, the regulations, and the timeline are no longer speculative. They are documented. Closure is not a question of if, it's a question of when, and when is approaching quickly. Peter will review the supporting evidence this evening for you when I'm finished. And given that Wind Waste declined to attend or participate in our landfill closure committee meetings and is not really engaged in any meaningful conversation on the Board of Health level on the closure of its unlined landfill, it's essential that the landfill closure become a discussion point for all future meetings. The public deserves transparency, and the town deserves a clear closure process. We respectfully ask that this board, our Board of Health, to ensure that the closure planning and remediation moves forward in a transparent, structured, and accountable manner. Peter will now discuss the documents in further detail, and I will follow up with some potential next steps. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Deborah. Madam Chairman, members of the board. You all have with you our presentation regarding the ash landfill imminent closure. The documentation, I also have the larger documents that these are pulled from, but what we've done here is highlighted those points in these documents, and mostly chronologically presented. They clearly indicate that closure must take place prior to, or no later than, November 1st, 2027, and that the height cannot go beyond 50 feet. And the reason why we're doing this is, having followed some of your meetings, there has been what appears to be a discussion, perhaps confusion about what's going to happen when. So we thought it was important to present the facts related to that, so that as you go forward, you can participate, hopefully, in at least the process of becoming aware of what's taken place. So let me go through the report here. There's 8 tabs, and the index corresponds to the tabs. Tab number 1, November 1st, is 2017, is taken from the ash staging and transport conditional approval. And if you look at the first page highlighted in green, it has the date of November 1st, 2027, and the title is the Ash Staging and Transport Conditional Approval Final Decision. This was the result of Wynn wanting to fill the valleys. And that was a long process in which they did receive approval. What's important in this document is on page 3. If you could turn to page 3, condition 1. This decision is effective upon the date stamped on page 1 of this permit. This permit is only valid for the time period it takes for the landfill to reach its approved limit, which is 50 feet, or a fixed term of 10 years from the effective date of this permit, whichever term expires first. I'm going to ask you, after seeing that, to go down to section 6, tab 6, which is an email from Mark Fairbrother, who is the section chief for solid waste management at the Northeast Regional Office. And I asked him the question through email. On page 3, condition 1 of this conditional approval dated 11/1/17, reference is made to the effective date of this permit. Can you please tell me what the effective date is? I am told it was sometime in spring of 18, but would like to confirm. Finally, has Wynn Waste requested any modification or waiver to the ACEC designation that would allow DEP to have them proceed to the Saugus Board of Health for a site assignment for expansion of the ash landfill? He wrote back rather quickly and said, "Good evening. The effective date of the ash staging and transfer approval is the date of issuance, November 1st, 2017. So 10 years from November 1st, 2017 is November 1st, 2027. The department is not aware of any requests from Wynn for a modification or waiver of the ACEC designation." And that was dated February 4th. So clearly, the 10 years ends on November 1st. The second document, tab 2, revised final engineering plan. And again, this is just page 5 from that document, but I have the entire document if you need to see it. I can give it to your clerk. I'm sure you must have it in your files. Highlighted, 2/3 of the way down, the vertical limit established by the consent order and the approved final engineering plan is 50 feet above mean sea level. Under Mass DEP regulations, any proposal to change the maximum height elevation of 50 feet above mean sea level for the landfill would fall within the regulatory definition of a vertical expansion and would require a new site assignment major modification of site assignment from the Saugus Board of Health pursuant to 310 CMR 1622. So clearly, we now have a date of November 1st, 2027, and we have a height of 50 feet. Unequivocal. If you look at document 3, dated November 16th, 2021, from the Baker administration, DEP Commissioner Martin Suberg, he points out, and again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's highlighted, as the landfill is located within an area of critical environmental concern, an expansion of the landfill, including vertical expansion, would need to meet site suitability criteria in the regulations with respect to site assignment. And further in the highlighted green, the facility fails to meet the necessary site suitability criteria to allow for the expansion within the ACEC and therefore would not receive a positive site suitability determination. Without a positive site suitability determination from Mass DEP, a proposal to amend the facility site assignment to allow for vertical expansion would not advance to the Saugus Board of Health. That was addressed to Jeff Turco, the representative from Winthrop and Revere. Now, under tab 4, a new administration, the Healy administration, Democrat, the previous was Republican, now we have a Democrat, March 14th, 2023, Gary Moran, the acting DEP commissioner, under tab 4, again, doesn't change what Martin Suberg said from the previous administration. This is dated March 14th. The facility fails to meet the necessary site suitability criteria to allow for expansion within the ACEC and therefore would not receive a positive site suitability determination. Without such, they cannot proceed to the Board of Health. The department's, page 2, the department's interpretation of the regulation remains unchanged from the writing of the November 21st letter. And Mark Fairbrother confirmed in early February it still has not changed. The 5th tab is from the report that you received from Brown and Caldwell, the annual progress report. I have the cover page in section 3, third of the way down, highlighted in green. As of October 18th, 2025, topographic survey, the projected site life of the monofill ranges between 0.42 to 1.5 years based on historic usage. Changes to the actual quantity of ash disposal at the monofill or transported off-site would impact the remaining life, but the maximum was 1.5 from the time period of January 30th. That brings them at the greatest amount of time to summer of 27. So these are documents that we didn't create. The landfill, these are documents in the public domain and have been provided to you. Section 7, tab 7, we already saw tab 6, but on this tab 7, these are the CMRs that regulate landfill closure, prescribed landfill closure requirements. And almost to the bottom, section 4, the preparation and submittal of final closure, post-closure plans. The operator shall submit the final closure, post-closure plan, and it goes on to delineate what that process looks like. And perhaps they may already have that in place. What we're asking you tonight is to be part of that process, to keep it on your agenda and to ask for reports at your monthly meetings on how that is taking place. Deborah will present what's under tab 8. And finally, we do have from the DEP website at the very end, the last 4 pages, from July of 25, the active landfills in Massachusetts. There are 15 of them. And on page 3, you will see that in spite of claims to the contrary, DEP claims this to be an unlined landfill. The only other unlined landfill in Massachusetts is in Adams, Mass., and it's for a limestone quarry. It's the tailings from a limestone quarry. But all the other landfills are lined, and this one is not, and that's the language of the DEP, not lined. So it's pretty clear and pretty obvious what the date is, what the height is, and I will ask Deborah to present our request of the Board of Health. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Good evening again. Again, we do appreciate your time this evening.
Of course.
We respectfully ask you to consider these 3 items. The first, we would ask the Board of Health respectfully, if on your monthly Board of Health agenda, you have a wind waste operational update and have a written sub-agenda entitled Ash Landfill Closure Update, so that every meeting you could get an update on the closure process. The 310 CMR S19.14 requires preparation, submittal of final closure and post-closure plans prior to undertaking any closure construction activities. So we think it's important that our Board of Health is continuously updated on that closure process. The second piece, which goes hand in hand with the first, is that the Board of Health meetings, the meeting minutes include discussions, comments, and documents relating to the closure updated presented in that warning. So have them come, speak on it, and have it included in the minutes. And then lastly, just as a suggestion, Peter talked about Brown and Caldwell and talked about their report and talked about the timeline and how it was the amount of time left on that landfill, and this was from that October 18th date, was 0.42 years to a year and a half. Well, we think it would be important that Brown and Caldwell perhaps come to one of your Board of Health meetings and present that timeline to you. We just want our Board of Health to be informed. We want you to be part of the closure process and to understand that process. And we as residents should be in full understanding of that, I feel, as well. I personally feel that wind waste, the incinerator, as well as the unlined ash landfill, is the biggest environmental concern that we have within our town. And I just think that it's important that our Board of Health be involved, partner with wind waste on the closure, not just the closure, but also the remediation once that ash landfill is indeed closed. I want to thank you very much for your time today and listening to the Ash Landfill Committee. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I'm naive. Say everything happens according to your timeline and the landfill is closed. Does the plant remain operational?
The plant, the incinerator would remain operational,
It does.
yes.
It
We're
should
just
everything
talking
out.
about, it's my understanding that, and they're sitting right here so they can correct me, that they came before your Board of Health and talked about shipping out 50% of their ash on a daily basis
No.
to Shrewsbury. But information that I have received from board members, it looks like that is upwards to 70% and perhaps even higher, to up to 75% of the ash is being shipped to Shrewsbury. So it looks like they're trying to keep that landfill open as long as they possibly can by shipping out as much as they possibly can to the Shrewsbury site. But that we're not talking about the incinerator, just the landfill.
Right, so it's two independent questions.
Absolutely.
And, Madam Chair,
Yes,
and there's plenty, there's at least 3 or 4 facilities that ship their waste, ship their ash to other locations. That's not unusual.
No,
And still
it isn't,
operate,
yeah.
and still operate their incinerator.
In fact, Saugus is the exception, that we have both the ash landfill and the incinerator. Millbury ships it to Shrewsbury, not Neswick, not North Andover, I believe ships it to Peabody. Ogden, Martin, and Haverhill, they are whatever they sold, that landfill is closed. And so this is the exception, in many regards, the exception. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
just say, I'd like to comment just a bit. We, especially last year, we have been asking a lot of questions, not really focusing on specifically the landfill, but we've been asking a lot of questions of when during their operational report. And some of the reasons because of that was in last year, the annual report came back showing that there was only 95,000 cubic yards left as capacity in the landfill. So we were aware of that, and we started asking about, okay, what stage is the Valley 1 and Valley 2 status? What's the status of the Valley 1 and Valley 2 fill? Sometimes getting an answer, sometimes saying, well, you'll see it in the annual report. It's more detailed in the annual report. But if you look at the last annual report, it's, like they said, like a year and a half, but there's only 32,000 cubic yards of ash left to go into that landfill. Now, they're generating around, on average, 9,000 cubic yards. Actually, that's tons. 9,000 tons, which is a little, there is a difference, but 9,000 tons conceivably could be filled in 4 or 5 months. Okay, so the question is, I guess, why isn't this landfill closing, and what's preventing it from closing? And those are the questions we have to ask. If we get Brown and Caldwell here, that's some of the questions I think we'd like to ask.
Good, yeah. So, certainly gonna take this under advisement and, ask if we can be kept informed of the closure plan. And
Madam Chair, could I ask that we make this part of the record? Do we need a motion for it?
it'll be in the minutes.
No, it's-
It'll be,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
anything
okay.
that's discussed has to be put in the
Okay.
minutes and made record,
Okay, good.
and it's all recorded.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, board members, John and Polly. I went on the DEP website and I pulled out the map of the landfill and the topography, the height. The last two areas for phase 4 and 5. All the grades on there are between 45 feet and 50 feet. So they're there. Only when you take into account that they have to put a foot of full fill, clean fill on top, 6 inches of loom, you're talking 2 to 3 feet. They're there. They're shipping it out to really delay the closure. And I just want to bring you, and this comes from the DEP website. So they're there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Loretta Lacentro. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak very briefly tonight. I'm a resident of Revere. My neighbors and I, living in the Point of Pines and the Oak Island neighborhoods, are very much impacted by this landfill. We do have a vested interest in the closure plan, which we know very little about. Because of that, would it make sense to ask Mass DEP, who oversees the closure of the landfill, to have a public informational meeting maybe later this spring, so that the residents of Saugus, Revere, and Lynn would have an opportunity to get a little bit more information. From a Mass DEP standpoint, what does the closure plan entail? And how do they oversee and confirm compliance as this closure progresses? I think it would be a great opportunity for additional questions to be asked and answered by our friends at Mass DEP. And it's just a thought to allow for additional fact-finding and information for local residents. So just a suggestion, potentially to bring Mass DEP in to get sort of what their job is and how they see this whole closure going. So thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Okay.
Good evening, my name's Martin Costello, I'm with Precinct 10 Town Meeting. And I'm not gonna go into a lot of what has already been said, you have the documentation before you. You know the history. So I'm only gonna give one little input as to the history as a town meeting member. Town meeting, 10 years ago, voted on 3 articles with regard to the expansion of the ash pile. And it all passed. All 3 of them passed. And in that Article 2, we said the landfill shall not exceed 50 feet above sea level. That's 10 years ago, okay?
That's not in dispute at all.
Right. So,
That's definitely, we all know that,
Yep.
and that's definitely the limit.
so we're at a point now where, as everyone has said, we're coming to the end of the road here.
Absolutely.
And we have to make sure that when we get there, the door is shut. So that's my only point.
Totally.
And I'm counting on the
agreement.
Board of Health to
Yep.
reinforce that aspect. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Madam Chair, one more thing. I think I could add just a little to the history. The landfill was supposed to close in 1996, okay, like 30 years ago. And the consent order that Wynn operates under was modified and allowed to go up to 50 feet, okay? Then 2008, they were finding that the landfill was getting close to capacity. So they modified the permit to allow them to add ways, to change the elevations a bit and allow to add ways to phase, Valley 3, Valley 4, and Valley 5. And that added about 490,000 cubic yards to the landfill. Then, almost 10 years later, in 2017, that's when they were finding the landfill was again close to capacity. Okay, and that's when they modified the permit to do the Valley 1 and Valley 2 projects. Okay, very strict construction schedule and everything else. And if you read it, it should have been completed basically by the end of the year, Valley 1 and Valley 2. That would added 400,000 cubic yards to the landfill. So here we are,
Approaching
another
2027.
yes. Here we are, almost another 10 years later, capacity again. Okay, this time we're really getting close, and
All
now's
the
time
while
to go.
filling the valleys did not exceed the 50 feet.
Right.
It just evened out what the valleys were
right.
at the 50 feet. So they're still
Change
in
the grade in
compliance.
certain places.
Yeah, they're still in compliance with the level, but there's still more ash in there, which we're aware of. And, there is still a request to modify the site assignment. The bottom line is, I really don't think the law will change to modify the site assignment. That's just my personal opinion. We're given personal opinions. is that what's stopping the, wind from, really giving us any information about the closure? I don't know, again, transparency. This is just me making conjecture. But I definitely agree that, it's coming quick. And, something we really do need to discuss it. That being said, any more comments?
I just have one comment, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
So, again, based off of the, just kind of a cursory interpretation of the documents that we've been presented tonight, first of all, I do want to thank members of the Closure Committee for coming to present this information to us tonight. It's obviously something that, is a hot button issue here in town. And like I said, based off of the review of the information, I feel as though I would request that the board make a motion to include the requests in future agendas, if you would.
I make the motion.
I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Passes 4-0. We will include those suggestions in the agendas coming forward for each month. Passed. Motion passed. To include the suggestions of the ash closure landfill into our monthly agendas. Okay. All right. I think we've all had our chance to comment on the presentation. That being said, Elliot, Wind Waste Innovations Operational Update. Thank you for continued.
Of course. Good evening, Madam Chair, Director Froelich, and the other Board of Health members, and all the guests here tonight. Since the last Board of Health meeting on February 2nd, the facility has operated at approximately 96% boiler availability, processed just over 32,000 tons, and generated just over 18,000 megawatts. We had one unscheduled downtime event that totaled just over 53 hours. Again, you received Tech Environmental's report on the 2025 operation. Very pleased again that Tech again concluded that after a year-long review that the waste energy facility and adjacent monofill operated again in compliance with all local, state, and federal permits. Joe has continued to email the group all the regulatory submittals so that everybody has them and is kept up to date on that. For notable events, on the 8th and 10th of February, we had Saugus Fire Department on site for 2 false alarms. And then on the 16th of February, we hosted a site visit with representatives from Keolis, Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control, and the Rumney Marsh Conservation Group. They were granted access to the site to view an area that they will potentially address. We're working on rescheduling a time for them to come out and sometime in the spring when the snow's all melted for better access, but they were scoping that out. From a community update, we were again pleased to support the Saugus Youth Football Cheerleaders with a $5,000 donation to help with their trip to Florida for a national competition. And then our friends at the Saugus Senior Center had a festive Mardi Gras celebration that continued to help support with part of our $20,000 annual donation there. So everybody continues to have a good time there. And that's all I have for an operational update tonight.
Thank you. I'm hoping that you can bring back the report of the closure committee and, ask to consider keeping us abreast of that 2027 closure date and consider meeting with us and adding that to the operational update.
Yeah, I'll take that back to the team and
Sure.
Pete and the others and
Yeah.
discuss, and
We'll be very
we'll be in
much
contact
appreciated.
and
Yeah.
figure out how we want everything to look and
Exactly.
figure out the best path forward.
Perfect. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned mosquito control. Given the history of the area in general, I would like to be present for when the Northeast Mosquito Control
Oh, good, yeah.
comes out. So please keep me posted on that.
Yeah, Joe could probably speak a little bit more.
So just to clarify, he granted them access to our property to
Okay.
get to a site that's not accessible except by.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
So we allowed them on our property, it wasn't, they were on our property for mosquito control.
I see, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I misunderstood it then.
If you still want, we'll give you
No,
the
it's,
rest of
well,
it.
I mean, I can reach out
Just
to,
to let you know,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
requested one motion of urgency, they were looking for something for their.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of misunderstood that a little bit. I can reach out to them directly about that, but I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Durant?
Questions? Is there an update on the upper part of Valley One and Valley Two? There was talk about not going forward with that. Is there no update? Okay. In the annual report, the last annual report, it was a large area, I think they called it Phase 3. It's one of the open, near the open section of the landfill. And it's colored that it has intermediate fill, intermediate cover. Does that mean that it's capped and the geocomposite is over it, and then there's intermediate cover? So to finish it off, all it needs is final cover and vegetation, or do I have it wrong?
Without the report in front of me, I can't accurately answer the question.
Okay.
Without what?
Without the report in front of me to
Okay.
reference, I can't accurately give you an answer.
Okay, I'll show
I
it.
don't want to give any misinformation.
I may have it here, I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a sense of what immediate cover means.
Yes.
Okay, whether it's okay. With, at one of the last meetings, you talked about going from the average of 50%, which is really 64% for the last year, up to 75%. What's that gonna mean as far as truckloads and everything else?
Likely 4, instead of the 3 trips, likely 4 at times. He's still, the contractor that we use, he's still kind of feeling that out as we start the year, and the weather hasn't exactly been kind to us, especially for that operation. So we'll probably know better over the course of the next 2 months to see how that plays out and what that actually looks like from a truck standpoint.
Last thing, the dredge project for the intake structure, has that been done, or is it still?
The actual work won't start taking place till November. It's currently up.
November?
Yep. That's when the allowable time to complete the work is.
Oh,
With
okay.
it starts November 15th to
November
February.
15th to February 15th is the only allowable dredging period.
So you got the approval from the Army Corps? Okay.
Yes, we have all our chapter
Permits.
91, all our approvals for dredging. Right now, the project's out to bid.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You good?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, next up on our agenda is Teresa's Public Health Nurses Report.
Hi. Hello. Okay. Good evening. So this is for February 2026. For influenza, we've had 59 cases. That's down from 85 last month. So we're definitely on the decline, which is great. Again, I just want to let everyone know there's at-home testing kits for influenza now. That's combination COVID and flu. It's very convenient, so you don't have to go to the doctors. I do recommend if you do test and you do test positive, please remember to call your doctor if there's any additional medications that they want you to take. In 2025, Massachusetts had 193 deaths caused by influenza, so remember it is very serious. I want to let people know the health department had La Mom come, which talks about estate planning. It was very successful. We have it, they're coming also to the senior center on March 9th at 10 a.m. We have over 60 people coming now that have registered. You don't have to register, you can come walk in, but I do suggest you come a little bit early if you do want to come, because it will be crowded. We're also in coordination with the fire department. We're looking to hold annual CPR classes. I will let you know those dates when we get closer to them. I'm also working with the American Heart Association to set up blood pressure library here in town. I'm not sure if it will be here at the library or at the Saugus Y, where you can check out blood pressure machines. If you need them, sometimes the doctor says, monitor your blood pressure for 2 weeks or for a month and then come back. So you'll, instead of purchasing that, you'll be able to just check them out. A little update, please. I want to just mention measles. As of February 20, as of last month, we've had 2 confirmed cases in Massachusetts. They were unrelated. This is the first since 2024. In 2025, the U.S. had 2,280 cases. This is the highest number since 1992. Over 90% of those who were came from unvaccinated individuals. That included 5 deaths, and 27 of those infected were hospitalized with serious symptoms. I mention this because, some people might say, well, 2 cases is not a lot. However, measles is the most contagious disease that we have out there. So, for example, if someone has measles and was in this room hours ago, we would come in, we would all be subject to measles. And if you're unvaccinated, you would most likely become contaminated with it. A study released by the Yale School of Public Health estimates that the measles outbreak in 2025 cost the U.S. $244 million. They also estimate that if the cases continue to rise as they have, by 2030, cases will reach over 17,000, with over 4,000 hospitalizations and 36 deaths. An annual cost to the U.S. would be estimated at $1.5 billion. It's something to take seriously. If you haven't gotten vaccinated with the MMR, please do. It is a requirement for kindergarteners to have the MMR. It's still, at 10 to 12 months or 5 years old, 4 to 5 years old. But even though it's a requirement, public schools cannot turn away students if they're not vaccinated with MMR. Here in Saugus, I will say we do have a very low number in our schools, and one of our schools actually has one of the lowest ratings in the state. I've been in contact with that school. We're going to encourage vaccination during kindergarten orientation this year, for next year. But it's really up to the parent to protect their children and to protect the public health. So please, I encourage parents to get their children vaccinated. And I will say, even with all this change in the vaccination schedules, the MMR has not changed. So just wanted to say that. And recalls, I will say, just anyone who has Savannah Bee Company, the barbecue sauce that has undeclared wheat and soy in it. June Bar snack bars, they have undeclared milk and soy. So if you're allergic to that, please check the ingredients or not eat it. And Chips Ahoy, they have brownie bites. They were declared a choking hazard, so please do not give them to any children under the age of 2. And that's all I have.
Thank you, very informative.
Thanks.
All right. Next on the agenda. I keep losing the agenda. It would be Mr. Freilich, Public Health Directors.
Good evening, everybody. So the department has been fairly quiet due to the snow, if you can believe that.
Wow.
We do have a few things that we've been addressing over the month of February. We received a complaint from one of the abutters of a permit holder that is housing horses, that they're disposing, they got caught trying to dispose of agricultural waste in their municipal trash, so they've been tagged, and we're gonna be working with them to get the bags off the street. It's up on the Wakefield line. We received a update from the Continental site regarding their plans. We finally received their official stamped floor plans, as well as some prospects for adding equipment to the upstairs bar and restaurant area. Also, we received further approvals from Dolcetta. I don't know if you recall, we met with a gentleman that's gonna be opening a kiosk at the mall for chocolate-covered strawberries
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that whole shebang. So they're gonna be doing some final installations over there, and then they're gonna be inspected. But they were just waiting for some selectmen approvals, I believe. Same thing with Golden Carafe, another business at the Square One Mall. We did officially open Cliftondale Roast Beef and Pizza down in Cliftondale Square, and we haven't had any bad reports from them as of yet. But as far as food, that's pretty much it for the month of February. We did speak a little bit about kratom regulations last meeting. We do have a webinar scheduled for Wednesday of this week to talk a little bit more about what the legislation might actually look like is from a regional standpoint. So in your packets, you have a regulation that was drafted by the Linfield Board of Health that just bans kratom and kratom containing products across the board. I know there's been a bit of a discrepancy between natural kratom and 7-OH, which is the synthetic version of kratom. So it's something that obviously we're going to be moving forward with on a kind of a regional collaborative, and we're going to be planning something with Joyce in the near future to talk about what the language is going to look like. But again, this is just something that was passed recently, and I feel it would be good for you guys to do some homework on. So just to update an old case, so at 21 Mount Vernon Street, there's been a stop work order that was issued. So if you recall, there was a housing case that was opened there 2 years ago, and the tenants have since moved out, but we're still working with the owner of the property to fix the violations that we noted down in there. And so they were caught doing work without permits, so we're, like I said, there's a stop work order with the Inspectional Services Department, so we're gonna be looking to follow up with the owner in the near future once we can nail down what needs to be done over there. I mentioned at the last meeting that we're officially part of the Community Naloxone program with the State Department of Public Health. And so we received our first shipment of naloxone this month, and so it's available down at the Health Department office, should anybody require it, for residents and anybody that needs it. We also have information down there as far as just general opioids and some of the programs that are available in neighboring communities as well as our own. We received some complaints regarding bodywork and massage parlors in town. A lot of those stemmed around illegal housing. That we were getting complaints that we had practitioners that were staying overnight and not going home for the. So anyway, we spoke with them about kind of the illegal housing aspect of some of these places, and discussed some of the illicit activities that were mentioned in the complaint. And then we had spoken a little bit about complaint forms and what have you. So the town just launched its new website this past week, and we are going to be looking to add, like I said, some of those forms to the new website under the new format. And it's a very user-friendly interface, so it should be a little bit easier to do just that. So other than that, like I said, the snow has kind of kept the phones fairly quiet, and I'm just waiting for everything to melt so they pick right back up.
Anybody have session for topic not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting? Anyone?
So I have two things,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Sure.
So we received the new proposal for the tech environmental contract this morning. And so that is available for you to review, and again, depending on what we want to do with it, we can, amend or what have you. Obviously, there's a lot of questions that I think we all have regarding the operation down there, so I don't know if you guys want to review that
Yeah.
and then get back to me about
we can
how we want
table
to,
that,
about how we want to move forward with
Yeah.
it, so I can reach out to our
Yeah.
our purchasing agent to
Sure.
just square everything away there.
I think we should review this and then discuss it at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
We'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting. And what was the other thing?
And so,
Yeah.
I don't know if, Mr. Durant, you want to speak to what we received? So we
Yeah.
received something on Friday from the state.
Yeah,
Yeah, did I-
from, yeah. okay, the state.
What'd I do with my copy? Did I borrow your copy? Thank you. Yes, well, we received an open meeting law complaint. I happened to chair the last meeting and we received a complaint, so I think we're required to at least share the complaint with board members. It states the Board of Health violated the open meeting law as follows. Joseph Durant called the meeting to order and never mentioned that the meeting was being recorded as required by Section 20F of the open meeting law. Posted agenda does not state the date of the minutes to be considered for acceptance. And the public body uses a standard template for their posted agenda without any specific list under the topic headings. For example, February 2nd meeting, they discussed the public landfill properly. So it says properly, which was not listed anywhere on the posted agenda. So we're required to share this with the board members. I believe someone from the town will answer the complaint.
Yeah, so I mean, again, we received a request for information for some of the minutes from some of the past meetings. So it looks as though there's, again, the action that the complainant would like the public body to take would attend a formal open meeting law webinar and to just, again, comply with the complaints that we received moving forward. So, again, I don't see any reason why we can't do that.
Who is this person?
It's somebody from
Northport,
Alabama.
Alabama.
So this
Who must be-
is webinar? I mean, is this a fundraising?
No, I don't know, he must have been very interested in what's going on in Saugus.
I think he makes a lot of complaints.
Yes,
So that's the name of this thing.
yes.
Maybe that's, he checks,
Open meeting law
make sure we
enforcer.
stay in compliance.
He's doing it?
Yeah.
He's
Self-appointed title.
his email is patrick@openmeetinglawenforcer.com.
So, there you go.
Anyway,
From Alabama.
so we have to comply with this, and
Yes.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to make the meeting. It's things that we just kind of do by rote, and it's okay. So,
Yeah.
give some more work for
Yeah.
you to do.
Sure. That's no problem. So,
Well, it's good that it's been quiet with the snow.
well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Something. to
one
do.
door closes, another.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's all good. Do we have any, more comment from the public? We're here for you. All right, well, thank you all, and, we will adjourn for our next meeting, which will be
Let's see, next,
April, oh my God,
April 6th.
April 6th.
Any takers on whether or not there's still gonna be snow on the ground?
Oh, yeah, we should take a bet. We shouldn't say that, no
Set the
bets.
line.
Yeah,
Set the line at 6 inches on the ground.
a
Make a
motion,
motion to adjourn to our April 6th meeting.
okay, and
Second.
second, all in favor?
All right.
All right, it passes 4-0.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.